Hey there, Julia here. Today we are looking at my favorite green inks. And I'm super excited to do green inks because one, I just have a lot. I have a lot of green inks. And two, they're probably just my favorite color family as far as inks go. I'm going to try my hardest here to not mention any teal or blue-green or turquoise type of colors in this video because I think that warrants an entirely different video. I know that color is somewhat subjective as far as what category they fall into, so I'm going to try my hardest and just go off of what I think for trying to pick greens that are truly green more than any other color. So pulling out my kind of wackadoo green ink swatches, you can see that I have this entire calendar spread filled with green inks, and then even back here I have some overflow, and it's one of two colors that have overflow, so you can see that I have a lot, but there are some teals in here, so we'll say that we have about 18 eligible, and I'm gonna count down my favorite 5. But let's talk about some green color psychology. That's just always a fun way to start these videos to get you in the mindset, in the juju of green. Again, as a graphic designer, we don't really use color psychology as law, but sometimes it's just fun to consider or use as rationale for design decisions. So when we're looking at green, some of the positives associated with the color are growth, balance and harmony, tranquility, relaxation, luck, and health. On the flip side of that, some of the negative connotations with green are being stagnant, inexperienced, jealousy or envy, and blandness. And that's super interesting just because a lot of the positives made sense to me, like, of course, growth, of course, health, like you think of healthy snacks or just healthy options. You're going to see greens and tans. Think about the pharmacies, at least in Europe, with the green cross. But the only one that really hit for me on the negative side was the jealousy and envy. You know, you hear green with envy, but the other ones is like stagnant, inexperience, and blandness. I've never associated with the color green. Okay, let's get started. My number 5 pick is what I consider like true green. It is a standard ink, but it's from a brand that is known for its fun chromatology properties and some of that shifting color, but this one doesn't do that. What do you think it is? If you guess Sailor Manyo Yukikusa, then you would be correct. I'm gonna try to keep these swatches small and manageable. Sometimes I get out of hand quickly. Just sometimes I forget that a little bit goes a long way. And I am going to be using my Kakamori nib, like the little stainless steel bullet nib here to do the writing. If you're curious, I got this nib holder from Jet Pens, but I'll link as much as I can down in the description, along with any discount codes that I may have and affiliate links. So definitely check that out. What I really like about this ink is that although it is very like true green, it does give me that really fresh feel as far as the color goes, but it's not too like Crayola green. Okay, my next pick is from a line that is known for its reliability, and it's just like a gold standard in fountain pen inks. However, this one definitely is green, but it's right on the line of writing this like blue-green situation. What do you think it is? My number 4 pick is Pilot Iroshizuku Shinroku. And I just love these bottles. Like, that's such an iconic bottle shape. It's funny, I actually got this bottle of ink in a trade. Someone had this bottle, barely used it, and was just looking, putting out feelers for trades. And I ended up trading it with a Waringal ink called 12th Night. And it's just this really like dusty pink, like light pink with purpley blue shimmer in it, and I just wasn't using it. And so I put that out there and they were super excited about it. So I was very happy to try out. I think this was my first Pilot Iroshizuku, I know bottle because it's my only bottle right now, but I think it was my first Pilot Iroshizuku ink in general. So yeah, you can see it's a very regal looking emerald, and those types of like dark and moody but highly saturated colors are kind of my vibe, kind of dig them. Speaking of dark and moody, my number 3 pick is, I would say, a little dark and moody as well. I would put it in more of the true dark pine green as well. It's from a brand that is super known for having just a ton of colors, and I think this one is like a pretty basic, well-loved dark green. What do you think it is? It is Diamine Sherwood Green, and she is dark in there. So funny, I have this in a sample vial right now, but when I first got this, they were actually in cartridges, and I don't remember why I got cartridges. I don't know. But I quickly learned that, hey, I can't use these cartridges in all of my pens, specifically my piston filler pens. So what do? So I just took my blunt tip syringe and sucked up all the ink in all of the cartridges that I have and filled, I think, maybe 2 to 3 of these sample vial tubes with the ink. And so that's been, so much better because I've been using this in my Pelican M800, M1000, and it's just such a good match. I'm pretty sure it's in my M1000 right now. But yeah, I think this one is just a really safe, approachable, won't turn any heads type of green. I'm doing that thing again where my swatches slowly get larger and larger as we go. All right, my number 2 pick, I'm surprised it's my number 2 pick because it has been my favorite green ink for almost the whole time that I've been into fountain pens and inks. It is, of course, again on this darker side, and from memory, I think it's somewhere between 5 and 3 as far as color goes. And it's not Peter Pan, it's Ferris Wheel Press Peter Moss, which I have loaded up in this carousel holder. Such a pretty, well-behaved ink. I will say that earlier in my pen and ink journey, especially with Ferris Wheel Press, I would remove the little seal that comes in the cap and like on the bottle because I didn't know any better. But now I've realized that leaving the seal on kind of preserves the ink color, the ink level, especially in a dry climate like I'm in right now. So if you remember in my favorite orange inks video, I'll leave it up here if you haven't seen it, there was some issue with a particular color of the same brand. And so I think that also has to do with the seal not being in the bottle, because recently that same ink completely evaporated. It was so much darker by the end. And so that is my advice for your Ferris wheel press inks, is to make sure you keep that little rubbery plastic clear seal that comes with it on your bottle. So yeah, let's watch this one out. Oh, it's just so gorgeous. And I would say, yeah, I was pretty close. Like this plus this may equal something like that. I don't think the subtle differences will pick up with this particular dip pen. We'll see. Ferris wheel Peter, oh no. Okay, Ferris wheel Peter Moss. I'll know what that means. Okay, let's switch it up before we get to my number one pick. Let's just talk about two honorable mentions in the green ink category. The first one is Wearingle Beneath the Wheel. And I have inked this up a few times on the channel, and for the most part have had a pleasant experience with it. I would say the reason it didn't crack top 5 isn't really because of the color, because I really do love the color. I just think this ink is a little dry, and I haven't found the perfect pen match to it as far as ink flow and all of that. So I can't say it's my favorite, but it is gorgeous. I think if the writing experience with this ink was a little better and I found a good match for it, then it would have cracked top 5, but alas. Another honorable mention goes to Diamine Sugar Snap, and this was in the 2023 Inkvent calendar. I'm shaking it, so it is a shimmer ink, and there's no real reason why this one hasn't cracked my top 5. I guess I haven't used it as much, but I really do think that the color is really nice. And at least the little bit of dip writing I've done with it, it seems to behave really well, especially for a shimmer ink. Let's talk about my number one pick. This one recently dethroned Peter Moss as my favorite green ink. So it's a newer standard ink from the same brand. This one looks a little faded as far as the green situation goes. It has some interesting, maybe bluish, maybe tan, pinkish shading things happening, but it's really subtle. It's not necessarily a dancing queen. It's Ferris wheel press Dancing Time. I've inked this one once, and I've done a little bit of swatch painting with it as well, and it has just taken my heart, we'll say that, as far as green inks go. And let's just swatch it so you can see how pretty this is. And there is the little seal in here, kind of going back to that previous conversation. There is that little color seal in here. So hopefully this is a little closer to the original color. And I think this one, going back to our color psychology words, exudes this like tranquility, this relaxation that I think some of these other ones don't. Isn't this gorgeous? It looks like very antique-y to me, like a vintage vibe. I'm sure we'll see this a little more when we get in close after it's dried, but you can already see like some of the different colors that show up in this ink here. Okay, we are dried up and ready to take a closer look at these green inks. So, number 5, we have Sailor Manyo Yukikusa. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I am trying. This is such a lovely true green. Number 4 is Pilot Iroshizuku Shin Ryoku. This is leaning a little teal, but I do think it's more green than teal here. We got a little bit of sheening happening there. The number 3 pick was Diamine Sherwood Green. This one also has some really nice kind of bronzy sheening happening. Almost red. It's like a red bronzy color there. Number 2 is Ferris Wheel Press Peter Moss. This one also has more of a brown sheen. I'm not sure if the camera is going to pick this up because it's super subtle even in person. I really love this green. You can really see when the ink starts thinning out in the dip pen why I love it so much. It's just this really dark olive color. I really love it. And then we have our honorable mentions: Wearing Gold Beneath the Wheel, Diamine Sugar Snap, and we're getting some of that shimmer action there, hopefully. And then number 1 is Ferris Wheel Press Dancing Time. And you guys, look at this like tan pinkish situation that happens in the swatch. You also have like some of these really blue outlines here, so that means that it's going to shade this blue color sometimes. But the base color, this just lovely, refreshing green, is just so nice. So that is my number 1 pick. Of course, down in the comments, let me know your favorite green inks. Let me know if you're picking any of these up, if I have blown your mind today with some new inks. There's so many out there, and I honestly could do a round 2 of favorite green inks just because I love them so much. But yeah, let's talk about it down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see what I have inked right now as I'm filming this, I'll leave that for you right here, and I will catch you all in the next one.